Hey everyone, this is going to be my third Runeterra content on YouTube. The first one being the Dan Felder interview, the second one being the LOR top 10 list looking at bad cards that became good, and now this one giving you Path of Champions monthly challenge tips and answering questions on Twitter at how to get better at them. Originally, the format of this video was going to be me talking at you for 15 or so minutes, but I wasn't sure if that would be appreciated or not. So a friend suggested, what if I did B-roll footage of random Path of Champions content VODs from my Twitch and just talk over that? So I thought I'd try it out. If you think you'd enjoy the original format of the video, please let me know in the comments. If you enjoy this video, please do all the cute YouTube stuff of like, comment, subscribe, sharing, all that stuff, etc, etc. With all that out of the way, let's just get to the video. At number 1, I have don't be afraid to throw away champion attempts. If you're trying to just complete the 70 missions and don't care about the top spot on the leaderboard, then remember you can throw away some of your champions and runs to better understand the mission. Some encounters can be pretty messed up, and knowing what the map looks like or how strong the encounter can be before you decide which real characters you want to use can be a good asset. As of the time of recording this, there are 48 champions, excluding Aurelian, which means you have 144 attempts to be able to get the 70 wins you need. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint, so you could take your time and throw away some attempts to get a better understanding. At number 2, I have spend this time to get familiar with the monthly challenge format. As of the time of recording this on the 11th and the 12th, with this video aiming to go up on the 16th, you have a couple of weeks until November 1st rolls around. In monthly challenges, compared to traditional Path of Champions runs, monthly challenge runs don't give you many nodes or chances to either improve the cards in your deck or improve the consistency of your deck by removing cards over the course of a run. You start it up, do a couple of nodes, and now you fight. Or you start it up, do a node, fight a mini boss, do one more node, and now you fight the actual boss. Whereas in traditional path, you have a wide map to get more powers or remove a ton of cards in your deck. This means you should spend some time figuring out what champions you should prioritize, because some champions get better over a long run, and some champions are really good right away. At number 3, I put down looking at the encounters ahead. It may waste a bit of time, but you can actually scroll all the way to the bottom to look at every single fight, even if those 67 encounters are actually locked. If you really want to, you can also make a Google Doc or a note somewhere to get a general idea of what you think could be an incredibly difficult fight, and which of your best champions you'd want to pair up with those to get by them without a hitch. Spending a bit of prep time can pay a ton of dividends in the long run if you want to complete all 70 of those challenges to get those 100 Aurelian Soul Fragments. At number 4, I said have a lot of strong characters. Remember that the main tool for finding success in monthly challenges compared to traditional Path of Champions is having a wider roster of champions you can depend on. If you want to succeed in traditional Path, then you just need only a handful of champions from different regions to stomp weeklies or get region clears. But now that you'll need at a minimum of 24 different champions, you should take a good look at your roster of your 24 best characters and see if they're good enough and don't need any more levels. Or if you should start brushing up on some lesser characters so you can get them through the early encounters without a hitch, so you can save your better characters for later. I'd personally say that a champion is good enough to win most monthly challenges if they're either a combination of at least level 20 and or they have at least 2 stars. If you don't have 24 characters that reach either criteria, then I feel like level 8 and 1 star is like the next best threshold to settle for, because at that point you get rare relics and a revive, and you at least have some power to fall back on. At number 5, I put down familiarizing yourself with enemy encounters and event nodes. As I mentioned previously, you aren't given much time to make your deck much better in monthly challenges. That means if you don't know what each node does, then you lower your odds at being able to pick a character or find the right path to get the best odds at victory. If you don't remember what each champion power is or what each event node does, that's okay, because you can check out the LOR Path of Champions wiki. A lot of the data there matches traditional path runs, but monthly challenges take from those traditional path runs anyways. A lot of the data that you'll need to know is pretty much there, thanks to the work of different contributors like Joanna Pi. You should go follow her on Twitter. I'll put a link to the wiki in the description below. At number 6, I put down a healthy reminder of the fact that you don't need to succeed in 1 month. Remember that you don't need to do all 70 of the monthly challenges to be able to unlock Aurelian Soul. While being able to get all 70 done would be an impressive feat, and would really increase your speed at collecting all the Aurelian soul fragments needed to max him out, there's still more chances to get Aurelian fragments in the next couple of monthly challenges beyond November. As Dan discussed in my interview with him, if you manage to max out Aurelian soul fragments, the main benefit, aside from personal bragging rights, is the fact that your next monthly challenge with Aurelian fragments will reward you with Stardust instead, which is valuable to get stuff from the Emporium. At number 7, I put down watch your favorite content creator do the monthly challenge. Now, I'm not saying this as a make me your favorite content creator, but I will be streaming my attempt at the monthly challenge on the 1st of November, so if you want to watch me live or catch my VOD, the link to my Twitch will be in the description. But ultimately, whether it be me or someone else, watching someone do something will give you the knowledge of things to look out for, or let you see what tactics they use, and you can see if you can incorporate it for yourself. It's pretty much like having a cheat sheet. While I thought these tips would cover a ton, I thought to ask my Twitter followers any specific questions they may have, or if I should go into further detail regarding certain tactics. Raw Rock Kills and Suki Nissan asked if there were efficient ways to level up characters so they can use this prep time before November to improve their champions. While I kind of brush up on this idea of improving your characters in tip number 4, I'm here to answer this with a more exact plan on how to improve. When grinding levels for characters, the simple answer is to just say, take a character and have them run up and beat Aurelian Soul multiple times. However, if you or the champion can't beat Aurelian Soul, what now? Well, then you should just keep going down the star difficulty ladder for that character until you find something you can beat. Can't beat Aurelian? Go to Galio. Can't beat Galio? Go to Thresher Kaisa. Can't beat Thresher Kaisa? Go to Draven or Victor. Also, when next month rolls around, there's going to be a new consumable you can get called Cosmic Pearls. You can equip those in your common slot and massively increase the XP you gain for completing a run. If you do that while playing Aurelian Soul, you should be able to get an absurd amount of experience to massively power level your underleveled characters. Hatboy asked, how do I get better at asking Riot to add Zoe to LOR path? I actually have zero clout and influence on how Riot decides to add characters to path, especially since I'm not on the LOR team. However, maybe if you start a campaign to try and get Riot to hire me, I'll see what I could do once I get in. Until then, though, just flex your RNG skills and find Zoe as your support champion every single time. Joey Sticks asked, I never know what to pick, don't know which relics are good for each champion or in general, don't know how to build a better deck. I'll admit that deciding what champion to pick for whichever monthly challenge fight is definitely more vibe-based than a hard science. Like, for example, during the first month, there was like a ridiculously high star Aurelia. I think like 5-star or something, I don't remember exactly. And I just knew that a maximum strength Aurelia with absurd powers would probably be messed up and the strongest path encounter I ever faced. And I should probably say my big hitters like Aatrox or Jinx for that fight. It turns out I was right, as when I used Jinx, I needed to put in a bit more effort than you'd normally expect from picking Jinx in Path of Champions. And if I was a different character, I'd probably be dead or working exponentially harder. When it comes to knowing which relics are good in general or for a specific champ, sometimes the rush to get best in slot is not as important as just generally picking good stuff, especially when best in slot can sometimes be a bit subjective and nuanced. For example, people would argue that before its nerf, Curator's Gatebreaker is probably one of the best relics in the game for LeBlanc, or just in general on a lot of champions for speedrunning. However, I never got that relic, and so I had to make do with other relics. Despite not having LeBlanc's best in slot relic, I still never lost an encounter with her thanks to having other equally strong options like Soccer's Blade or Crown Guard Inheritance and whatnot. So just get some practice on what makes a champion good in path, and then see if you can pick from relics that you have to complement your playstyle and just go from there. Especially since you always won't have relics that people recommend for that character, it's better to play and experiment than suffer through decision paralysis. My go-to rule, slap a Stalker's Blade on everything and you probably can't go wrong. There's other generally good relics like Bounty Hunter, Jawrim or Caulfield or Lost Chapter. But generally speaking, everyone has their own old reliable, and you should spend some time figuring out what makes you happy. For the last question, while you're not generally building a deck in monthly challenge, I still would like to answer it more for traditional Path of Champions runs. Generally speaking, you want to add more copies of your broken cards, usually your champions, and remove as many cards that aren't your broken cards as much as possible. Very rarely do I buy cards in shop or pick up cards in item nodes. I usually just skip them. Sometimes at card award screens after fights, I'll deliberately pick cards I have copies of just so I can remove it and the original copies once I get to a healing node, which will help me draw into my broken stuff faster. Asteron asked, since you need at least 24 champions to finish the 70 monthly challenges, which champions should be prioritized to have a diverse pool if you don't choose many? I actually already finished recording, but I decided to do another recording just to answer this question. Um, for my personal opinion, I would plan on, for my 24, going for Aatrox, Ashe, Diana, Elise, Garen, Gwen, Alawi, Jhin, Jinx, Kayn, LeBlanc, Leona, Lux, Nami, Nidalee, Samira, Set, Tahm Kench, Talia, Teemo, Varus, Vayne, Veigar, Yasuo. However, while I do say these 24 champion names, I don't say them as a play these and nothing else. These are more what I plan on playing and winning with the most when it comes to difficult encounters. Everyone's going to have different champions of ones that they think can or will be easy wins. Like, for example, I could see myself using champs like Darius or Evelynn, Echo, Jack, Kindred, Nasus, Pyke, Vi, Volibear, or Yuumi. Not because I think they're bad and want to use them to make sure I have maximum tries with the other 24 mentioned, but because I think they're capable in their own right and could possibly work as well. Figure out which 24 champions you vibe with, but don't be afraid to go beyond the 24 minimum as well. Maxic1207 asked, how to prep? I am kind of midway and wonder if I should level my 3 stars to 30 right now or my 1 and 0 stars to like 8 for the revive. I kind of mentioned this earlier in what constitutes a good champion in tip number 4, but I thought I'd re-answer here. Generally speaking, if you're already at 3 star, you can get away without being max level. I already mentioned earlier that I personally feel like level 20 is the most important level threshold to reach if you can, and if you can't, try and get to 8 or so. You really do want to prioritize having a wider spread of champions if you can. Anyways, that will close up pretty much everything I have in terms of tips and questions from Twitter. As always, do all the cute YouTube stuff like subscribe, comment, share, all that stuff, etc., etc. And I hope you enjoy. And if you have any suggestions for future stuff you'd want to see, feel free to put that in the comments too. Bye bye!